It's fantastic. I don't know. I'm all over the place with this.
Hey, welcome to Super Social Club. I'm Jeremy.
This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob.
Welcome to the Whisky Rant podcast.
It's a little crusty.
It's frustrating.
And it's going to be a little bit of a rant.
I don't understand it. I don't know why.
Some sort of injustice.
Anyway, end rant.
Hello and welcome back to the Whisky Rant podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Rob.
And tonight we have a very special review for you. It's the Springbank 30-year-old.
Yeah, this is just a Springbank 30-year-old review whiskey rant.
Just a review. We were lucky enough. Someone in the whiskey community, a good friend of ours, reached out to us. They were fortunate enough to be able to purchase a Springbank 30-year-old, and they're like, hey, I don't see any reviews of Springbank 30 on WhiskeyTube. Do you guys want to review Springbank 30? And our response was, you had me at S.
Spray.
Or so of course, one amazing thing about the whiskey community is that people are super generous with their bottles, and someone was obviously very generous enough to reach out to us.
Ridiculous.
And be like, hey, do you want the heel of my bottle? Pour it, review it, let me know what you think. And I'm like, yeah, for sure, let's do a video on that.
We pulled I poured the full heel, like evenly. Which, you know, even wasn't the problem.
Okay,
it was the fact that this is like a full,
this is a very generous heel.
This is
at least 4 ounces.
Yeah, that's
gonna
be 2 ounces at least.
And you're just like, oh, I'll just pour the whole thing. YOLO, let's chug it down.
I don't know about chug it down. This has been opening up for a good 40 minutes already.
Okay, so if you're unaware, Springbank 30 came out in 2022. The oldest official bottling that Springbank's come out with in the last however many years. Lots of years, right? They haven't had a 30-year-old official bottling in a long time.
Have I ever told you the story about... Well, you probably saw the video and laughed at me when I did the unicorn bottles. The unicorn bottle video.
Didn't you have a unicorn that didn't even exist in the world?
It's like a Springbank 35-year-old that was like a one-off from like a couple years, maybe 6 years before, 5 years before, and I just goes to show the complete ignorance at the time of like what existed in the Springbank world and the Campbelltown world. Yeah. And now, full circle. We're trying a 30-year-old Springbank.
We're super fortunate. We've had more than a lifetime of fortune come to us already, and in the just because people are so generous to us. So we're super grateful. Mm-hmm. Springbank 30, 46% ABV, non-chill filtered, no added color, of course. This is 85% Ex-Bourbon matured, 15% sherry cask.
15% sherry cask. It doesn't say fresh sherry, so we don't have to assume that it's first fill.
Secondary market price on a bottle like this, you're looking at the current UK market, around 2,500 British pounds, $4,000 Canadian-ish. Maybe not as much as you might think normally for Springbank, but as of right now, it's like double to 2.5 times retail.
This would be a cool experiment to have side by side with the 28, but I think the 28 with the higher ABV might kind of drown this one out.
First on the nose, the malt characteristic really shines in this thing. I'm getting a lot of that Springbank characteristic maltiness here.
Yeah, you can definitely get the age on the nose because it's definitely like a honey, ironed out kind of sweetness to the nose. Yes. No bite whatsoever.
Absolutely not. It's very delicate, refined kind of nose for sure. Citrus, lots of beautiful citrus notes coming through. Something
vaguely floral in there.
Yes, for sure.
I don't want to call it lavender, but in that a very subdued maybe lavender.
And a little bit of that dunnage, cold rock basement, but not over impactful, I would say.
No, and what makes the Italian cantina is those cured meats that you just keep hanging in there, right?
Yeah.
If someone opened the door and you're really far away and you kind of get that whiff.
You walk by.
Yeah, it's kind of that cured meat, but really distant.
Right. A little bit of saltiness maybe coming through.
Yeah.
Yes. Lots of elegance on this thing.
Yeah. Definitely complex.
Yeah, not like a Springbank that I've really noticed before.
No, I'm trying to make a mental comparison with like I said, the Springbank 28 that we tried, some of the Springbank 25s we've tried, some of the Springbank 21s, and I can't really like link it.
No, because this is like more like with the 85% bourbon, 50% sherry. This is more of like a makeup that you'd find in a 10-year-old.
Yeah, it's probably exactly the makeup you would find in a 10-year-old. Actually, I would love to. Maybe we should have looked that up right before.
To see what the 10-year-old is?
Yeah,
I think the 10-year-old is pretty close to this.
15?
I don't know if it's 85-15, but I would say
maybe
that
70-30.
It seems like majority is ex-bourbon.
Oh yeah, I would say majority is ex-bourbon for sure. I almost thought at some point that it was almost entirely ex-bourbon 10.
Yes, I think they do put a bit of sherry in there, but I'm not 100% sure. And of course, it changes year to year, although the 10-year-old seems like it's the most consistent compared to the other core range bottlings.
Oh wow! So there is like a beautiful. You ever have those like fried kind of donuts? Like they're like.
Oh yeah.
But like
fresh donut.
It's like almost like a homemade donut. You ever have like a homemade donut? And that like nice like oily sugary smell that you get with like the mix of like I guess wheat or whatever like the bread is, the dough. So it's that doughy but like oily and sugary note all in one shot that I got there.
Yeah, the sweetness, it is like a cane sugar, like people say barley sugar.
Yeah.
There's this like kind of crystallized like sugar note to this.
I love these glasses for Nosy. Like I'm finding that I'm getting a lot more out of this than maybe if we would have poured in something else.
Yeah, so this is a crystal. What kind of glass is this?
It's meant for rums.
Yeah, it's like a rum glass.
But it's got a nice tulip to the top, so I mean...
You know what glass this reminds me of? Our good friend at whiskey.com, Looning, Horst Looning.
Yeah.
They came up with their own kind of style glass. It's very kind of similar to this, actually.
Might be a little skinnier theirs.
They have like more of like a drawn out lip to it, but
yeah,
you do get a really nice nose from this.
Cheers, and thank you to our friend.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll talk as you sip. But yeah, very elegant on the nose for sure. You're right, I get that doughy kind of note to it now.
Wow.
Almost like a sourdough even, maybe.
That is ridiculously viscous. Like, literally wraps around your tongue and just like hugs it. So, right off the hop you get that kind of doughy, fried dough, sugar, like malty, I guess. I don't know why it's still malty at 30 years old, but it is.
Ooh.
Really sweet, but not like sickly sweet by any means. Just the right amount of sweetness. Yeah, wow. It's very interesting.
The nose is very well recreated on the palate. And you're right, the viscous is very through the roof. Maybe a little more like fruity on the palate. Raspberry comes through to me. Like that raspberry drizzle.
I get raspberry, yeah. Yeah, it's like a drizzle, like you said. Maybe
very like dessert drizzle, raspberry sauce, yeah.
But again, back to that fried donut, like that donut, that malty, like sweet, fried, oily kind of note I'm getting on the palate. That's delicious. That is delicious.
It is straight delicious.
Yeah.
It is very, very good.
This is incredibly like destroyable. Like
it's too drinkable?
Yeah.
It is very drinkable.
You could just sit down with a bottle of this and before you know it you're like a quarter of the bottle's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
It's great.
The finish is pretty long too. Like I'm still tasting it. That was like after my second sip, we're talking like almost a minute later, if not more. I'm still tasting it. So it's not like I need to go back to get that taste. It's not like I just want to go back because it's so good.
Yeah, the honey, the floral, all coming through. Spice level, not too much.
No.
Not too much on the spiciness.
Back palate maybe? Like I feel a little bit of heat in my throat. Mm-hmm. But like it's not like a harsh heat of any sort, obviously. This is really, really like easy drinking, not harsh in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, it's in the back of the throat, like a nice hug, like a hot hug or a heated hug or something like that.
Campbelltown funkiness, subdued, I think.
Yeah, I would say like a 1 out of 5 for Campbelltown funkiness.
From what you're used to?
It definitely... I'm not surprised that it's Springbank by any means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But...
At 30 years, you're thinking like that profile gets really like thinned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It drinks older than that 28-year-old that we had not that long ago. It does drink older than that. And it's only 2 years, so you wouldn't think that would be the case.
This is the oldest Springbank that we've had.
Yeah, 30 years old is...
There's not many Springbanks that are older than this. The only ones I can think of right now are those really old local barleys. They were like 32, 35, 36, 37,
like
38.
that, yeah.
Right?
The 12-year-old that we had older Springbank in it that was older than 30.
Right.
But we don't know how old, right? And there was some 12 in there as well. This is better than any of the 25-year-olds I've ever had. I'm trying to think of, is it better than the 28? And I'm going to go yes. Is it better than the Springbanks that... See, the problem, I guess its only knock, which I guess is not really a fair knock, is it's not incredibly Springbanky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is the most elegant Springbank
Definitely.
that we've had.
Yeah.
Like the subtleties in this aren't seen in what we've tried before from Springbank. Like the 28 is not a subtle whiskey.
No, it's not hot, but it punches you.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like no heat. It was like the packaging, the elegant. It was designed to be this way, I think.
Yes, this is like a easy drinking champagne version of Springbank. The box says champagne. The color looks champagne.
It's beautiful. The box is, and I'm very interested to hear the rationale as to why they went 85% bourbon cask. I mean, I understand that tasting it, but like, do they know that they just have something really special in their bourbon casks at that age?
Yeah, so we're looking at 1,400 bottles produced of this batch, this release. I mean, how much? They probably only have that much, like 30-year-old whiskey that's ex-bourbon, right? Mm-hmm. Like, how many 30-year-old sherry casks do they have? We don't know.
I would think that they have a few, but they do bottle the 25-year-old every year. They bottle the 21-year-old every year. Mm-hmm. How much slips up to the 30-year range? Is this going to be a regular release or is this a one-off?
Good question.
Maybe
it appears to be a core range. You love the packaging and the color. I don't. I do not. Okay. I do not. I don't like Springbank. No, I don't like Springbank packaging. I don't like the way it looks.
I love their bottles. Their bottle is my favorite bottle. I don't like the text.
I do like their bottle. But I don't care. I mean, like, it means nothing to me.
Yeah,
it means absolutely
it's
nothing.
Irrelevant.
I don't care about packaging. I don't care how the label looks. I don't care about the text.
I'd be fine if Springbank changed their bottle to like a round. I should dare I say Blanton's kind of bottle. I'd be fine with whatever they decided because
it doesn't matter.
We don't buy our whiskeys based on the bottle.
I don't care.
No.
A lot of people don't like the Glenallachie text. It looks like old Egyptian style text.
Yeah.
They don't like it. I don't like it either. I don't care. But I don't care. Right.
I guess that's it. I've learned to love it just because I love the product, not because I love the I don't give a shit about the packaging. Like that's never been my interest, right? But
when I get a box, I keep it till I open the bottle and then I throw the box out.
I find it so hard to do a review on like 1 dram of a whiskey, and I'm finding it harder and harder as Whiskey Tube goes on. And I know this is technically like 2 drams, but like.
This is really nice.
It's very nice.
It's really nice. Is it like the most complex Springbank we've had? I don't think it's the most complex.
It's definitely not the most complex Springbank we've had. It's definitely not the most complex whiskey we've had. There's a whiskey to your left that is much more complex than this. This is achieving, I think, what they wanted to achieve, which is
an elegant, really refined, subtle version that still highlights their distillate.
Yeah. I love that it still gives you that texture that you want. It's got that viscosity that you want. It's not.
Yes.
It's not just gonna fall in your palate, swallow, done. You don't get any finish, any whatever. There's a viscosity here that screams, we care about what we're doing, versus like the Macallans that are, just, oh yeah, this is really smooth. This is 25-year-old Macallan. It's incredibly smooth and tasty, but you can sip it and forget what you tasted 3 seconds later. You're not forgetting. Like, I still taste Springbank, and I probably will until I put something else. I eat something or taste something else.
This is just super delicious. I think the balance between that really good sweetness, which is very upfront, mixed with like that malty characteristic and the citrus and a little bit of fruit in there. It's very, very faint, but it just adds a nice little depth of layer.
Yeah. I think people getting this bottle, like, obviously this is not geared towards guys like you and I. This is what, $2,200 retail?
So yeah, retail prices vary. If you're talking Canadian dollars, around $2,000 to $2,500 is what you were looking at if you're lucky enough to purchase this.
Yeah.
And like we said, secondary market is essentially double that.
Yeah. So, great. It's not meant for, like, if we weren't gifted the heel of this bottle, there's no chance we would ever be able to try this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, by the way. But it's geared for that kind of price point, like, capable people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's funny because this is Springbank's way of being a little cheeky, in my opinion. Like, this is geared toward the people that, like, have lots of money, that if they buy this bottle and they serve this to their friends that also have lots of money, their friends go, oh, this is excellent, I love this is fantastic,
yes,
incredibly smooth, all these different things. But the cheekiness comes in the fact that the whiskey geek would absolutely adore this as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is not just for the high roller.
Yeah.
This is maybe the high roller, but the high roller that knows a thing or two about whiskey. You know what I mean?
The nose is so good. The palate is so good.
It's hard to, like, I'm trying to think.
You want to compare this to, like you said, the 25. So let's compare it to the 25, because we absolutely fell in love with the 25 that came out in 2019.
Yep.
That was one of the best Springbanks we've ever scored.
Yep.
We've also loved the 21 that came out in 19 and 20.
2019.
And 2020.
The 2020 was the dark one. I still have up there, actually.
Yeah.
So,
but those are different. I mean, like,
different.
you can't. Okay, first of all, you can't compare the 21. It's completely different. It shouldn't even be compared to this. The 25 you can maybe compare it to.
Viscosity wise, this blows those out of the water. I don't remember the 25 having this kind of viscosity.
Maybe you're right. Maybe the viscosity on this is more than the 25.
Maybe the flavor punch and all that different stuff was more on the 25.
Yes, I would say so.
But the viscosity, and that's also because you and I lean toward a nice sherry dram, right? So that's playing a factor too. But that 2019 was sherry and port, right?
I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
We don't want to get it wrong, but yes.
I'm pretty sure it was sherry and port.
Maybe something else too, right?
The 2020 21-year-old was like a few different, like rum, this, that, whatever. It was super dark. But the viscosity of this whiskey is unreal. And for me, the 2019 was my favorite, like, Springbank, aside from the local barley 10 that was, like, cast strength, just punch you in the face. And that 8-year-old that we both really like as well, the Society release.
Oh yes.
The 28, I think this is better than the 28. I think this is better than the 28, the Society release.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compare them for me because this is a different bottling. I mean, like, yeah, it's similar in age, but that 28 was like a many different casks, different types of casks.
Yeah, bottle wise, they're around the same. Pause for 1 second. We're gonna cut that. So, here's a bit left of the 28. Should we pour a little bit to kind of do a quick little...
Shall we?
Shall we pour a little?
Shall we? But like this 28-year-old has, 4 different cask types, correct?
4 different cask types. You're right. So this is...
The 28-year-old.
Sherry. The 28-year-old is sherry, hogshead and butt.
Okay.
Bourbon barrel and rum barrel.
Okay.
So 4 barrels.
4 barrels.
2 sherry, 1 bourbon.
Okay, so let's say probably Oloroso and PX.
And it's 48.2%. Could be PX, could be just Oloroso. Oh, that's really nice too.
Immediately change your mind. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to compare.
It's so hard. It's always, but that just goes to show you the trouble in doing reviews on a whiskey. Mm-hmm. So this is way more on the fruity side of things.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I also gotta like the only thing.
It's much different.
My only drawback to this 28 is that piney note that I get. I get a little bit of like, maybe that's from the rum cask.
I will say the 30 has 0 off-putting notes. It's just straight elegance, deliciousness, nose to finish.
It's delicious.
Really nice.
It's more complex than the 30, but the 30 is more drinkable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They're both fantastic.
I would agree. The 30 is more drinkable.
They're both fantastic. The 30 is more of a pour and play at 30 years old and $2,200. Mm-hmm. The Society release is more of a intricate, not an everyday whiskey. Mm. You know what I mean? Like, it's great. I don't know.
This is a bold bottling of Springbank. This is an elegant bottling.
Exactly. This is, like I said, this was the cheeky one. This is the one meant to satisfy the masses, but the hardcores would still love it.
Yeah.
This was meant for the hardcores. That's it.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that.
Which was better? It's tough, right?
It is tough to say. I mean, like I said, they're not comparable.
This is 50% sherry. We do tend to lean towards sherry as well.
If you're going to give me a full bottle of each, which one would I take? I would take the 28.
Gives you more ABV, gives you more sherry influence.
I think that this 30-year-old can be compared to those 25s that we really, really liked. Because I think that it shares a lot of elements with those ones. Those 25s are like a more refined version of Springbank, right? The 21s weren't. The 21s are bold. The 21s are bold like this is bold.
This doesn't drink as old as the 30. You can tell the 30's older. Why? I don't get that. It's only 2 years. Well, obviously, cask difference and all that other stuff. This is sweeter. I don't know how it's sweeter, but that's a sweet dram. That's even sweeter.
Would you say that there's maybe older than 30-year-old stuff in here? Substantially older, perhaps.
There could very well be older whiskey in the 30. It does feel like there is a little bit of that. In the Society, that's a tough one, man. I don't even know if I like it now that I love that 28. That 28 is fantastic. I don't know. I'm all over the place with this.
I was going to say, can we rewind when you're like, this blows the 28 away, this blows the 25s away?
This is better than any of the 25-year-olds I've ever had. I don't think it blows any of those away. I think it's a step above the 25. I do think that. Not for $1,200. Not for $1,300 or $1,400, which is probably what it would be, right? For 5 extra years, $1,400, nah, no.
Okay.
Hard pass.
Are you ready to score? I mean, I know you're not, and neither am I, but we should give a score to this based on what we've tried so far. This is where I'm at. I'll go first. Mm-hmm. The Springbank 25s, we reviewed, I think, the 2019. I maybe reviewed the 2020 as well. I'm pretty sure my score for that 25-year-old was a 92.5, which I think is the highest official score I've given to Springbank. I don't think I included this one. I think I'm right there with this. I think I'm going to say that this is a 92.5 for me. The 30-year-old it's the same. I was scored the same as that 25.
That's fair.
I think that the enjoyment factor is the exact same for me. It's a different whiskey. I'm getting different things I enjoy about it. That 25 I loved. This I also love. Right. It's the same score for me. I'm 92 and a half.
92 and a half.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so think about your score then for this. What would that be?
It'd be a half tick higher.
Half tick higher.
Yeah.
See, I'm on the opposite. Okay, so I think that this is a little better than 25. A little bit better.
Okay.
So, I think I agree with your half tick higher on this. I think this is a little bit better.
Okay. Yep.
But I don't really do half ticks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to give them both a 93.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them both a 93. I think this is a 93. This is fantastic. And even better now than it was when we last tried this.
Yeah. I mean, our scores are not encompassing the price, right?
No, of course.
Like, we would,
Can't.
if the price is a thing, we would take the 25 every single time.
Absolutely.
Because
for a half a tick, I might have given the 25 a 93 back then. I don't remember what I gave it.
Yeah.
So I might have given the 25 a 93. I'm going to say that this is a 93 based on today's standard scoring for me.
93 is a super high score for us. We don't give hardly anything 93s.
Like, what would I say? Take this or the Springbank 15 for $150. I'm taking the Springbank 15 all day. Actually, I'm going to take 10 of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'll take 20 of them.
Yeah.
You know? I'd rather take 20 Springbank 15s than one of these. Let's say that.
Let's rewind in time, okay? Let's say that we were lucky enough to be able to purchase a bottle of Springbank 30 at retail. Okay? You buy it. You open it right away and drink it?
Yeah, so I definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
Right? Regret the purchase?
Probably. For $2,200, that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
I would probably regret and that's crazy to say because it's a 93.
Yeah.
But I don't have the kind of money to be throwing $2,200 at a 93. If this was a 97, then $2,200 doesn't seem like a lot.
This
of
is
money.
a Jack Daniel's bonded. Boom.
Right? But even I think because I bet you if we had a second sit down with this, our scores might go down a little bit, not a lot. But I bet you we wouldn't be as hyped up and feel maybe it would go down a point. Maybe it would, even original those Springbank 25s. I bet if we remarked them now, it would go down a point or two, right? So I think all that considered, I'm a 93 without thinking about the price. I'm probably a 91 or lower thinking about the price.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think back, and I think I did take a half mark off for value when I scored the 25-year-old.
And that was at a good value.
Because I was like, the 21, I think I'm at like a 91 of the 21. So it's like I'm a point or a point and a half more, but like it's so much more money.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is double.
This is even more than that.
This is so now the Springbank 25 is more around the 800 900 mark.
Yeah.
And this is like you said, almost $2,500. It's delicious. I just took another sip of it and I'm like, wow, that's incredible. But for the price, you know what? I think maybe taking 2 points off is crazy. For the price, if $2,200 is no problem for you, then this is a 93 for sure. Mm-hmm. If $2,200 is like, don't buy this if this is not like you're gonna find a 90 for a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
So don't go after that 93.
I mean, like if you had every single core range Springbank lined up on a table with retail prices for what they were, what are you picking? Are you picking like a 19, 21-year-old for that price? Like what are you choosing to buy? Society not in the question. What do you core range in the last 5 years from Springbank, best value? What are you looking at?
If honestly, and I can get any of them, just one or
just one. Any one you want, retail price for what it was at the time of release. What are you picking?
For me, it's still that Springbank 10 local barley. Just because it's like it punches you in the face with that cask strength. It's heavy sherry. I love it. It's all kinds of Springbank characteristic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that whiskey.
I mean, if you're gonna go back to the 16-year-old local barley,
yeah,
that would
different.
be the purchase.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Right?
That, if I can go that far,
purchase.
that's probably the best Springbank we've tried.
I think for me, you say that local barley, I'm going that 2019 21-year-old. I do love that whiskey.
I love that
much.
too.
I love that whiskey.
That whiskey is
much.
phenomenal.
I do love that whiskey a lot.
That 2019
21-year-old was very,
I think it was
very
port
nice.
and rum now that I think about
Yeah,
it.
I think so. It was
Port
good,
and
man.
rum.
It was
fantastic.
Good. It was
whiskey.
good.
Fantastic whiskey.
Yeah.
And but they both made
$400, right? I'm talking about around 400 Canadian.
Yeah. I think that's where the issue is for me, is that like to throw around $400 it's worth it for sure. It's worth it. If someone was gifting me a bottle, I'd probably ask for that one.
No, we're not. We're saying you have to pay the retail price.
If you have to pay the retail price, I'm going to that. I'm going to the local barley 10.
And what was that retail?
It's like $180.
180.
Maybe less.
Half the price.
Maybe $150.
That's a good point. Half the price.
Right? $180, I think it was.
Half the price, yeah.
Right?
But 16 local barley still. That's the king.
It was on my list of top 10. I think it goes a little higher than the local barley, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, that local barley is 16, man. That was an outlier.
And that's the problem with, because we had.
And that was like 2000.
We split 2 ounces of that.
It was like 2016. Was that 2017?
Something lower, yeah. Did we split 2 ounces of that, or we split 1 ounce of that?
We might have split 2 ounces. I think we split 2 ounces. Yeah.
Right. So, like, we're having more time with this 30-year-old than we did with that.
True.
So I hate doing that. Like, even the one that Mike and Narby sent to us, that was a 12-year-old, but it had like 30-plus-year-old whiskey in it.
A 90s bottling, yeah.
Like, it's so hard to review something that's a half an ounce or an ounce, or like I just find that that's totally not fair to the liquid.
Man, the sweetness on this.
It's crazy, right?
I don't know if I've had like this experience with like that sweet sugar characteristic.
No, that's what I mean. That's coming from the bourbon cask for sure.
Really good bourbon casks. You can tell these are good. I mean, Springbank has good casks, but this one definitely highlights that Ex-Bourbon. Obviously, it's 85% Ex-Bourbon.
I would say I'm
good.
going back to I don't even know. Yeah, probably this is a tick better because it kind of appeals more to our palate, but the quality in this glass, like, something needs to be said about that.
Yeah, I think, like, you know what? You buy this bottle for the retail price. Okay, like, maybe it's not worth other Springbanks you've had, but honestly, you're not going to be disappointed with this. It's really, really nice.
Okay, I guess a better question is, in that price range, what would you replace it with? Like, you're not going to take the Macallan 25-year-old over that. No chance.
No. Not the new Macallan. The new Macallan 25-year-olds are not worth the price.
The old Highland Park 30, I probably would take over this.
Oh, that is a great comparison. Because I just sipped that not too long ago.
And that's so good.
It is very, very good. Honestly, though, without price, I would take this over the Highland Park 30.
Really?
Yep.
The viscosity is heavier on this for sure. Like, there's a heavy sugar.
Yes.
I love that kind of, like, I love the elements that the Highland Park 30, the old Highland Park 30, bring to the table. Because it's that, like, crazy, like, salty, like, different kind of flavor. We're getting a little off topic here, but...
This is a long review, but it should be a long review.
It has to be.
It should be a long review. And you know what? We gave our scores earlier, so if you clicked off, you got the score you clicked off. But yeah, I mean, like, the Highland Park 30, Springbank 30, what a great problem to have, you know, trying to decide what is better.
Absolutely.
What's better.
I
guarantee you, viscosity on this
is better
than the Highland Park 30.
Dude,
viscosity.
I would put the viscosity of this whiskey, I would put this up against, like, anything. Like, seriously, anything.
I love how you're like, oh, I just poured the whole thing, but it's gone. I drank the whole thing. It's gone.
Because it's delicious.
It's crushable.
It's so crushable. But it's not crushable in the, like, I said this already. It's not crushable because it's just like, you sip, you lose the taste, you need to go back to it. It's not crushable that way. It's crushable in the sense that it's so tasty. It's so tasty. It's unique. I think the problem with marking whiskey as a whole is not everything is gonna, like, we're always trying to recreate that experience that made us go wow about a whiskey. Like, so something a little bit more fruity or this or that might outweigh this, even if it's not as good quality.
Yes.
And I think that's what's happening here and there. Yeah. Right? This isn't, from a technical standpoint, this is not as good as this. But it's tastier because it appeals to us more.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Like, the fruit notes explode off your palate.
Exactly.
Something like this, like, there's nothing exploding off your palate. It's more like refined.
It's just elegant.
Balance. Yeah. Elegance to it.
Viscosity. So, like, there's crazy like, it's more, it's that comparison of that raw talent versus that, like, crazy technical, like, individual, like, whatever, right?
Yes.
So that's what's happening here. It's elegance versus just raw beauty. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think that's the best way to describe that.
That's a great way to end this video. Springbank 30, thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to be fortunate enough to try this.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much, man.
You know, we're too fortunate.
We are very fortunate.
We're too lucky. We're too fortunate.
We are very fortunate.
But what we can do is we can pay it back. You know?
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Have that guy come over here one day and have some drams with us.
You know what? I did give him a sample of the Brora 38-year-old.
Oh, wow. There you go.
You know?
Yeah.
A whiskey that I would consider one of my all-time favorites. It's the highest score I've ever given, so, you know, at least he gets a little something in return. But again, like, yeah, like, this was makes the whiskey community so great, is the sharing, the appreciation, and just getting someone else's opinion on something is fun.
Cheers, dude. And,
cheers. Thank you so much. We're so fortunate, and thank you for making this opportunity for us. We would never try without you, so thank you so much. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really much appreciated. Have a good one. Cheers.